What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Every Week We Follow. I'm your host, James Clifton, and I'm here with my good friend, Gary Bennett, who is wearing a Watkins shirt backwards. It's a bit weird to look at, if I'm honest, mate. It's a little bit strange. It looks a little bit like AI or like some kind of filter that's going on. I don't quite like it. Anyway, we are going to be here for probably the next half. Oh, that's really odd. The next half an hour. It looks like your head's on backwards.
Raggy doll, mate. Sad sack, they call me. Sad sack. So, really for those of the 80s and 90s, remember a show called Raggy Dolls? Raggy Dolls. Raggy Dolls. Dolls like you and me. Anyway, crack on.
Right. Anyway, we're going to be here for about the next half an hour talking about a few different topics. Obviously, the big one is Ollie Watkins out. Nicolas Jackson in. Looks like that's happening, but it's not quite done yet, which always makes me a little bit nervous. We will also be talking about Rafael Leao from AC Milan and a decision that he needs to make. Ordóñez and the fact that we missed out, but there is a little bit of information from John Townley on that as well, which I'll delve into. Jack Grealish, could he potentially come back in? It feels like we're linked with him every window, but it's like, is there actually anything happen there? Apparently, we've spoken to his camp, so we will talk about that. And then obviously, Emi Martinez potentially being offered out to Chelsea because, you know, they're the team that we deal with, and basically we all like to just swap players, basically, and just strengthen each other's teams.
At this point, doesn't it? It feels a bit incestuous. Why are we only making deals with Chelsea?
Because they're the only ones that'll deal with us. That's the thing. So
that's going to be looked at, though. You watch us get shafted and Chelsea get away with it again.
Don't worry. Yeah, exactly. But as always, guys, if you are new here, please do hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Let us know down in the comments what you think about these deals as well. Do you think that Villa will get this business done? Because the big, obviously, thing that came out yesterday, Ollie Watkins has agreed a deal to go to Al Hilal for 50 million.
50 million.
Mate, that is a brilliant fee for a 31-year-old striker.
It's an insane amount of money, mate. It's a bit like, it feels almost like Rodgers money. I know it's not the same, but in terms of what you're selling for, look, lots of people have dropped comments on TikTok and on YouTube, mate, and you know, really sad to see Ollie go. What are we doing? You know, still.
I do feel sad about it. I feel sadder than I thought I would, if I'm honest.
Well, like,
I'm also sad with how it's ended.
Yeah, so there's two parts to it for me. Like, I think it's really sad how it's ended. He should have played against Brighton as a swan song, mate. If he'd have played against Brighton, and he would have been sent off with "Well done, Ollie, top goal scorer, Premier League goal scorer for the Villa." Now
you could have done a lap, like clapping, and like, okay, right, he's going. Yeah, we got it. Brilliant, thank you. Yeah,
and it feels like he's torn apart his legacy of what he's done. Now, and that's sad. And I'd just like to go on record to say I think Ollie Watkins, from what he portrays in the media and you know what you hear about him from the club, is that he's a genuinely nice guy. You know, a genuinely family man. You know, this is generational wealth that he probably couldn't turn down. Still don't know how that works with a young family, and you know, his wife going to Saudi Arabia, because we all know what, you know, it's like for women in these kind of countries. It's a difficult transition, right? But
I don't think they're going with him. I don't see him going with him. I see him going out there probably relatively short term, coming back.
Yeah, maybe, but he's got to go there for at least a couple of years, right, to benefit from the tax.
1 year.
1 year. So maybe you do that. You know, we don't know the details of that. So I wish him all the best as an individual. But from a footballing perspective, mate, I'm glad he's gone. Like, I appreciate everything he's done at the Villa, but I've said for 3 seasons he's not the guy to take us to the next level. He's just not. And now his age, this is the best possible deal we could have got. It's good for the club. It's good for him. Now we've got to just, you know, wish him well. It's a shame that he's not going to get the send off he deserved, because he did, like I say, and if that would have happened at Brighton, it'd have all been great. But now we just got to focus on the next generation of players coming through, right? And this
like Josh said, it's the Saudi cheat code.
It's
the up, down, down, left, right, A, B, start.
Right. I didn't swear.
What just happened?
Right. No, but you've got my wonderful wife made a valid point, right? This morning we were talking about. She's like, I'm not sure I can get into a whole new squad, right? She spent so long.
She's just got falling in love with these players.
In love with all these players, and they've all left, right? And she said, but most managers would probably leave, right, or complain about losing their best players. But Emery's just gone. If you want to leave, leave, and I'll go again. And I think she looked at it from a management perspective. You know, you need people that are committed to your team to get best results. If people are looking elsewhere, or have got one foot out the door, aren't doing the basics to do their job, then you've got to get rid of the dead wood, right? Because otherwise, you don't get the overall. You don't hit your goals, and you don't get your overall achievements. So
I mean, at the end of the day, the players that have left. I mean, Tielemans was only there. Was it 2.5 seasons? It's less than I thought, or 2.5, 3 seasons. What's going on? What's happening? What are we doing here?
My 11 is like a mechanic thing.
It looks like you're in an American football shirt. That's what it looks like. Oh my god! Wow. Okay. Bloody hell!
Sorry, mate. Actually, I'm having a season.
Sorry. I've completely forgot.
Sorry, mate. I threw you off completely. That's my bad.
Yeah, you completely throw me off.
Talking about Watkins.
No, so I was going to say. So Tielemans was obviously. I think. Was it 2.5, 3 seasons? I think.
3 seasons. 3. Yeah, 3 seasons. That's known the comment.
And obviously, so he's been there 3 seasons. Roger's been there 2, but then Luca Dean's been there 5.
Maybe, when he came in, Gerard got him.
Yeah. Watkins has been there 7. I want to say same as Conser.
Yeah, 2019. Was it? 2018.
So you know they've all been there a while, and their goal and Emi Martinez, he's been there 5 years or something like that. I think as well, maybe.
Yeah.
So
5, 6 years.
Their aim was to win a trophy, right? Like, that's what we always said. It said, bring a trophy back to Villa. We haven't won anything for 30 years. They go and do it. It's no surprise now that they're moving on. And we've talked before about player and Emery having churn usually 2 or 3 seasons, and players are like, I'm done. Whereas, to be fair to them, they've stuck it out this entire time.
Broken.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm mentally and physically broken. Can I just go to Saudi, please, and just let me run around and just. So you know that's what Ollie's chosen to do. So I don't begrudge anyone that's left. The one that I'm sad about. Well, not sad about, but I just didn't see coming. Like we spoke about, was Yuri Tielemans. That's the one that I'm like, actually, that's a really big loss. Conser, big loss but good money. Watkins, big loss but good money. Rogers, big loss, massive money. Tielemans, it's a big loss, and I was like, we should have had at least 60. 35 was a kick in the teeth. But
the problem is that all the others are replaceable. We haven't got anyone, even with the new signings, that come close to doing what Tielemans.
No, which is why we need to play a different way, right? But obviously they're all out the door. Forget about them. Obviously, Watkins hasn't actually gone yet. So once that happens, then that'll be out the door. But
you know what? Just on Watkins though, he's massively disappointing that. Again, just going back to how it's left and not. Just the sour taste. It's
also not going to hit that 100. The Premier League, the whole. He's not going to hit the Premier League 100 or whatever.
Well, no, he scored 91 goals, and let's face it, he probably would have been unlikely to get 9 goals this season anyway. So
he would have got it, wouldn't he?
No.
And then he So
look, it is what it is. But we said at the start of last season, look, he'd lost a yard of pace, etc. I think it's just this whole, refusing to play nonsense and kind of just not training. There's no smoke without fire. The fact that people are going, you don't know the full story of it and things like that. But Emery, we don't. But Emery wouldn't say the things like you said. You've got to ask him if there hadn't been some sort of resistance from Ollie. So it feels like, for me, a big fat 2 fingers up to us as a club, and that's massively disrespectful, considering again. We spoke about this yesterday, about the loyalty that Emery showed to this guy. The players that have come and gone that we could have invested in and developed, and we've stuck with this guy, and he's left on a sour note. So disappointing, but I am so over it, mate. I'm buzzing for Jackson to come in.
Yes, so let's obviously talk about
seasons.
Jackson. So Watkins is obviously he's going for 50 million by the looks of it, and Jackson's coming in on a 47.5 initial with 17.5 million of potential add-ons. Not going to lie, even as a Villa fan, I'm looking at that going, that's a bit fishy.
Well, what's the biggest add-on deal? Because that's got to be close, right? I don't think I've ever heard of a 17.5 million add-on. Like usually it's 5, maybe 10, but 17.5 million add-ons. What are the add-ons?
I suppose those add-ons might be over like the course of like the whole contract. So whether it's like a 4 or 5 year deal, and it's like, if he hits certain.
Are they?
Maybe it's like get Europe again and goals.
Are they realistic, or is it kind of like you must score 100 goals in the Premier League for Villa before?
Well, I think they have to be. They have to be realistic, right? But it's interesting. Like, I wonder if anyone's going to look into that, because obviously the reason we've done that is because again we need to be net zero, right? So 50 in for Watkins. We can only have up to 50 out. So 47.5 is this very like strange number. 17.5 million of add-ons. It's like 30. What's that? That's over 30%, I think, of add-ons.
Mate, I'm sure it's all legit. We don't do anything dodgy. Football's not corrupt. It's all fine. Don't worry. There's nothing to see here, mate.
But obviously the other thing we need to talk. Obviously, there's the whole Rodgers timing where we're like can't do anything for 45 days or whatever. Apparently, according to Jacob Tanswell, there's actually been it's not quite as hard and fast a rule. Like there are exceptions, and you can obviously propose the reasons to UEFA for what. Yeah, so I assume all that's been going through, and we probably have to wait for this to actually be stamped. We probably do need to wait at least until as close to that 45-day window as we can potentially. I don't know.
Well, I saw that tweet yesterday, mate, and I think it looks like it's going to be okay. I don't know the ins and outs of it. We'll know it once it's, but it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be in this stage of negotiations. But then if
we sell Martinez to Chelsea as well, does that not make it even weirder? It's like,
what is going on?
It's just very strange. But anyway, we'll get on to Martinez in a sec. But then Jackson, so Nicolas Jackson, he's
Jackson.
I'm Nicolas Jackson. I love that. I love the fact I'm going to be able to say that and sing that. So he's just turned 25. Turned 25 in June. So nice and young. He actually
Premier League experience, European experience.
And I tell you what, for Chelsea in that season, didn't play a lot, but his record was really good, and he just kind of fell out of favour.
Mate, it's Chelsea. I think he grew into it. I think he started. Then he went missing for whether it was injury or not being selected. But then towards the end of the season, he started scoring. And look, players like Jackson, like any centre forward, you've got to play to their game, right? That's what we tried to do with Ollie in numerous times. This is a different kettle of fish, and I just think that connection between him and Unai Emery, like I implore the viewers and the listeners to go and watch the interview with Nicolas Jackson when he signed for Chelsea.
I'll put a card in the corner.
Right, when he signed for Chelsea on Chelsea TV, and the interviewer asked him, "Who's the best coach you've worked under?" Mate, he went into like a 5-minute rant about how wonderful Unai Emery was, right? And I'm like, I even watched it and went, surely you should mention maybe your current. It was Maresca at the time going.
Yes, Maresca just going
to play for Maresca, and he's like, "No, Unai Emery. I owe everything to Unai Emery. He's the reason I am the player I am today. I love Unai Emery. I want to play for Unai Emery. Hey, is this Aston Villa? I think I should play for Aston Villa. Why am I?
Where's the claret? Where's the claret on my shirt? I've only got blue.
I'm confused. Where's Unai? Unai said he broke it. Like mate, it's brilliant. It's so good. And you can almost see the interview going,
what do I do?
Say something about Chelsea.
Chelsea.
We're on Chelsea TV, and all you're doing is bumming Unai.
But what do you think? So I've got a Chelsea fan. When the news kind of broke yesterday, he messaged me going, "Mate, Nico Jackson for 65 million. Are you crazy? Like, as in that fee's mental." I think the thing is now. I think to be honest, I look at any fee now for any player, and I'm just like, that's mental, because I think the market's just bonkers.
Yes, it's so inflated, mate. Like it feels like Football Manager now. It's making up prices. 117 million for Rodgers. He's not worth 117 million. No way. Like Elliot Anderson,
you just spent 100 million for Tonali, and it's like, what's going on? 100 million used to be this like massive. There'd be one in a transfer window or in a season or something, or one every few seasons.
When you're talking about that kind of player, you're looking at prime Ronaldo, Messi. Do you know what I mean? That's what you're looking
talent.
At. Like, you know, this is just for potential. Like Rodgers is a great player, but he's just potential. Elliot Anderson had a great season, but 116 million. Do me a favour, right? Like, it's the game we play at the moment, and let's face it, that kind of money, people are getting paid some serious bank, man. Like this is filling pockets for everybody to progress, right? So, I just think that 65 million actually in today's market is probably not that bad, considering we've just sold Watkins for 50 million. Do you know what I mean? For a 30-year-old, so it would be the fee is what it is. Like I say this all the time. Like, you know, when people go to me, well, how are you pay? Why are you paying £85 for a football shirt? Well, look at unless I get a lovely dodgy one from, you know, a site we won't mention, or you kind of that's the price. You got to pay what the market value is, right? I don't want to. Is it worth 85 quid? No, right? But you've got no choice. You have to pay.
That's why. Well, I'm waiting for the end of season sales, mate. It's like I'm waiting for the end of the transfer window for a late swoop deal.
Mate, it's just like season tickets, right? We don't want to be being ripped off, but no one's giving up their season ticket because they've it's what you've got to spend.
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand, mate. That's the way of the world.
So
but that's the way it is.
I'm excited about this signing. If it gets done, I'm excited about this because there are a few reasons. So one is Premier League proven. He's got Premier League experience. He's played with and the big one for me is he's played with Unai before. So if we were replacing Watkins and you're bringing in a bit of an unknown entity in the league and what
played with Unai, he's played for
You're terrible, mate.
It's just the way so I don't know. It felt wrong in my brain. Sorry, mate.
And then but he's So he's obviously Watkins played for Unai for the last 4 years or whatever it is. And so we needed someone to come in that's familiar with the manager, understands his methods, understands how to play, wants to play for him, like you said. And Jackson literally fits that bill perfectly. There isn't really anyone else that you would sit there and go, yeah, that's the right man. So to get him in with all the kind of malarkey that's gone on, rigmarole with the swap Chelsea stuff and everything, to get that over the line is huge. And also, if we can get it done, I don't know if it counts with weekends, but from what I understand, if we can get it done before 5 p.m. on Sunday, he can play Monday.
Well, let's get it done. I think any signing they need to play Monday because we are severely lacking in
reinforcements. Mate, if I'm honest though, I'm really excited to see if he's fit. I'd love to see Macho. I'd love to see Macho battering with that defense. Like, and if it's Ezri Konsa, oh mate, so come on, mate. Honestly, I mean, I think Ezri will have a very, you know, if he does play, he'll have a warm reception, I think, from the fans.
Yeah,
there's no bad blood there. But I tell you what, if a ball goes in and there's Maggio up against Konsa, everyone's going to be like going mad at it.
Mate, Agent Konsa to score an own goal, Villa to win 1-0. There you go. Right. I mean, going back to the Jackson thing, I think there will be a big section of our supporters that will be, because everyone said this last year, like, you know, when we were talking about Watkins and being not good enough. And people, who do you replace him with? Who do you replace with? The grass isn't always greener on the other side. And
that's true. But you won't know until you go over the hill.
And we don't know, right? But that doesn't mean that that you don't try, right? You don't move on. Like, it's weird how loyal we are as fans when it's a bit like being in a relationship where you don't see the negatives, you only see the positives, right? It's not been that first 3 months.
People don't like change, right? Like, especially when you've got someone that's been working and you've got it so good. It's like, it's a very fine rumbling machine here. We've managed to do this over the last 4 years. And it's like, well, now all of a sudden we're literally ripping the whole heart of it out. Oh my God. And it might not work, but
look, big change, but keep the faith. Look, it's as long as, and it is cliche, and I know the media are jumping all over this, but as long as we've got Emery, mate, I don't doubt this guy's ability to develop these players to somewhere a level that we can compete.
And he's not going anywhere.
No, I just don't see. Like if he was going to leave, he'd have left by now.
He wouldn't have.
He'd have gone.
He'd have gone with the Tielemans deal or something. He would have just left.
All of this would have been part of the plan right there. I'm telling you that cup final, looking back on it now, was a swan song for those players. Like you said at the start of the show, they've won a cup. It's like that was the project, right? And most of these deals would have been in negotiations before they went to the World Cup because it's too small of a window to negotiate personal terms and all that kind of stuff for when they come back. And they've got, so most of these agents would have been talking about these deals way before, as the season was probably coming to a close. Rumours that Rodgers' deal was probably already done and dusted in January, mate. So, it's kind of these things. We just get the crumbs that fall at the time it happens, and everyone, it's speculation, it's sensational, it's clickbait, whatever you want.
We'll find out after the season because Jacob Tanswell does his window write up, and it's usually very detailed about all the ins and outs and when things happen. So hopefully we'll get all the ins and outs at that point. But quickly moving on to Ordóñez.
He said no.
The media have come in as Palace have swooped and they've hijacked the deal, and Villa have missed out on this player. So according to Townley, it was actually the case that Villa were holding off and weren't sure because he's got a metatarsal problem.
Yeah.
Now, that obviously it's not the same, but obviously we were stung by that quite a lot with Jacob Ramsey. So we're kind of looking at this, maybe going, is he going to stay fit? Like, we need a player that is going to be able, like, Konsa was very durable. We need a player who is going to be playing week in, week out, probably 40 plus games in a season, or at least close to 40 games in a season.
Not even that, mate. We can't afford to buy a player that can't play for another 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Like, it's just, that's not.
So I think it was a little bit. I think given the choice, I think Ordóñez would have come to Villa. And I think it was us who were kind of like weighing around. We weren't sure. And so we're exploring.
And then Palace have come in with a permanent move, right, for 30 million, where we were looking for a loan with an obligation to buy. So I think that makes more sense for Club Brugge and probably for the player himself. So, look, we never know because, reading the reports, I don't really remember him from Club Brugge, but apparently he's an up-and-coming player that, was
22, 21, 22.
Yeah. People talked about his performance against Arsenal and things like that. So I don't know. I don't know.
Good player. I'm not saying he's a bad player.
It's the one that's got away. But things have got to be right. And at the moment, we couldn't have afforded to go all in on a player that is not fit to play. Like we're going to have to look elsewhere. Like maybe we now need another centre half. But we have signed this.
Todibo. Is the latest link from West Ham?
No.
Is the latest link.
Also, what is it? Is it Harewood Ballis from Southampton?
But apparently the difference in like value there isn't that big. So it's kind of like what. So unless again we're kind of like just not sure on some things.
Well, yeah, I mean he hasn't been in Southampton's last 2 matchday squads, so that's interesting. And obviously he's a young player. But and I again don't, mate. I haven't seen him play, so I can't really pass judgment. But apparently, very highly thought of, has moved him through the ranks at England international level, or under 16, 17, 18, all the way to
I'd like a homegrown player because again, for Europe,
but is he good enough for the Premier League? And do you throw him in? Like what I'm saying, like it's difficult. But we've got I don't know that the centre half pairing now is like after watching Sunday's game, Lindelof and Torres lacking in pace the way they do.
But I mean they've played together. We played them together last season in spells, and actually some games we were like, these two are brilliant. Yeah, so look, it was just a bad game against Brighton.
Look, it's the disjointment of the team at the moment, right? Because when the play's in front of them, not a problem. The moment it's going in over the top and in behind, you're screwed, mate, because they can't cope with it. So have we got a good enough midfield this season to keep that ball at bay? It's a risky game because, like I say, we didn't do it against Brighton. We just got overrun in midfield, and it was they got through at will and they punished us massively. So, and Arsenal will do the same. So it's kind of we've got to. I don't know. You've got this young lad, Cisse. I've only seen him in pre-season, but looks uber composed on the ball for a young lad, mate. I was really impressed. Like you think of a Pau Torres ball player, but actually with a little bit of oomph about him. Is Unai going to risk doing that? I don't know. We're really interested to see what the starting lineup's going to be come Monday. With what happens in the next few days. With people coming in.
Yeah.
So
and obviously we'll do our match preview tomorrow with Josh and Jack. So please do join us for that. And we'll have our predicted lineups, which will probably be completely wrong. So we'll just see how we get on there. Right, last things. Quickly touch on these. So Rafael Leao from AC Milan. We're looking at a loan. I don't know if it's an option or an obligation there. I think the deal's kind of like been thrashed out, as in like club to club. Apparently he's got terms on the table from Galatasaray and Villa. Now the question is, basically, it's a question of, do you want to go play in the best league and play for one of the best managers in the world, or do you want to earn more money? That is pretty much the decision, because Galatasaray will be offering more money than we will. So, and if I'm honest, if he goes to Galatasaray, I'm kind of sitting there going, well, I don't want a player that is driven by money.
Oh, mate, as I touched upon, we don't want anyone that's not 100% committed to the cause. Like, do you want to test yourself as a professional? Unfortunately, like these any loyalty in players towards football. I'm not talking about like clubs. I'm talking about literally just loyalty in playing the game. Like the dollar signs are just too extensive now for them to actually focus on what they got there in the first place, which is playing football. And it's actually, why would you, as the age that, how old's Leo?
I think he's 20. He's 27. So he's actually a bit of a late bloomer. But from what I've read and what I've seen, rated as one of the best players.
27. You're talking about a prime age of a footballer, mate, right? So
they said he's really coming into his prime now. Yeah.
So you would be like, go and test yourself in the best league in the world, still earn an inordinate amount of money, right? But play, have a bit of a challenge. But people just, I guess, even with all the talent and all the money in the world, just want to take the easy option. Right, because we can go and sit with a pina colada and not have to try hard, and the Turkish league. Let's be honest, it's not great, is it? Like with all the greatest respect in the world, they've got Fenerbahce, Galatasaray. None of these teams do. They once upon a time back in late 90s, early 2000s, it was an intimidating place to go, and they had some really good players, and it was okay. But the Premier League has, and the other top teams in Europe, in Germany, Italy, Spain, they just take all the best players, mate, because that's what happens. And so these other leagues just suffer. So it feels like a bit of a cop-out. But you can't, money talks, and you'll have agents in his e-roll, because let's face it, agents are the devil's work when it comes to this kind of thing. All they want to do is get paid. And, if it's more money, that's where they're going to be favoritism. It comes down to the player. And I think Emery will base it on that. And that's what managers do, right? You've got to have good characters that stand for the right thing, which is why it's so disappointing about Ollie's demise, because I think he's a good character. I think that's what Emery's tried to do. He's tried to work on character and build that. And ultimately, you can't control the outside noise sometimes.
It's interesting. Like, I'm just reading. So I'm reading on The Athletic here. So they've got an article about it, about the fact we are definitely looking at him, and we're definitely in talks to sign him. It's when I read this, so they got like an analysis about him as a player, and it's like, and this doesn't sit well with me, because this reminds me of one certain player, and it'll be interesting to see if you think of the same. So Rafael Leao is the sort of player it's possible to watch for 10 years and perhaps never reach a firm conclusion on. A lot of the time, he looks like an elite player: pace, skill, a vicious shot, the ability to make opposition defenders look like fools. He also has some pretty strong numbers, averaging just under 20 goals and assists a season since 2021. And he was named Serie A Player of the Season when Milan won the Scudetto in 21-22. And yet, you can also go for whole games without really noticing he's on the pitch. An infuriating anonymity for someone with his gifts. Who does that remind you? No, so that reminds me of Marlon. Because it's the kind of player where you don't quite know what he is. Like, what it's this kind of like thing of, you can kind of like never quite have a conclusion, because again, he can go completely missing. He's pacey. He's got an incredible shot on him, and this kind of, and he could be brilliant. Okay. That was the thing that kind of came to mind.
It reminded me of Rodgers, because Rodgers used to go missing in major games, mate, but then pop up with.
Yeah, I agree. But like when it was just when it was saying like
numbers.
It was where he said like you watch him for 10 years and never really make a conclusion. I felt like that was Marlon because we just didn't quite know what he was. I think that's where Emery wasn't sure either.
Well, I just think Emery didn't want to play him in that number 9 role. He's doing that for Roma.
Amazing numbers, though, by the way, by the sounds of it. Like 20 goals. Was it 20 average 20 goals over the last 4-5 years?
That's decent. You know, I mean, it is the Italian league. That has definitely.
Yeah, but it's a defensive league, so it's quite hard as a striker sometimes to get those kind of numbers.
No, like, you know, but Milan haven't been the team they would. Look, it's good numbers, whichever way you look at it. There's no doubt about that. It's transitioning those numbers into the Premier League, and is he willing to do that? But it's interesting because this season we can't afford any passengers, mate. No, because we are coming from a place of rebuild. We need every player on that pitch at the very bare minimum, giving 110% outworking teams. Because while we develop and while we get a rhythm and while the players get to know each other, the basic has to be go out there and outwork teams, and the rest will fit into place. If we don't have that, we can't have players that go missing for 10 games, mate, and don't do anything. We need.
I mean, I assume this is a replacement this would be a replacement for Tammy. I would assume Tammy would go out on loan. If it's a loan with an option or an obligation, then Tammy can go out on loan. He comes in on loan because Tammy's just he's not good enough. The only thing I worry about is Maggio then not getting minutes.
Yeah. No, I don't think you've got to worry about Maggio. I think he's going to get minutes. I think that Super Cup game and his pre-season is enough to get him in and around the squad. It has to be because he's just different. And even if you're playing him for 10, 20, whatever, 15 minutes at the end of the game, like it's enough to disrupt any defence. Like people aren't going to know how to handle him. They're going to try, but mate, we know his physical capabilities. So I hope he's given that opportunity, and I think he will be because he can be that target man, right? Nicolas Jackson will be a different kind of kettle of fish. I think it will be the plan as what we spoke about before. Jackson plays for 60, 70 minutes, go and run the defence ragged, tire him out, get Captain Maggio on just to steamroll him over and get the winning goals. Happy days, mate.
Oh, but I can't. I'm getting excited now.
Why people are apprehensive? I am excited about it. I'm not.
Yeah, I am apprehensive because, like I said, it's a lot of change. There's so much unknown. We won't know until Christmas. We won't really know.
If it goes that way as well, it doesn't work out. Right, just keep the faith. Like we're not going to get relegated. Right, it's a rebuild. Right, so maybe and ideally, yes, I know the money's the big thing, right? But it's going to be okay. Whatever happens, it's going to be okay. As long as Unai Emery's at the helm, this squad will develop and get better, right? And I think we'll do something. And look how competitive the league is. It's not going to be a case of like that top six is going to just walk away this season because they're all in transition. Yeah, mate. But the whole Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United.
I think Chelsea are going to be a force this season.
Well, they were potentially, mate. They've had one good game, and even in that game, Fulham should have got a draw. Yeah, Fulham were good, and Chelsea, while they looked dangerous going forward, defensively did not look sound, man. Look, balls over the top that people were in. If Fulham had any clinical ability, they would have won the game. Mate, they had better chances in the second half. So I hate this media thing that Chelsea are going to go. No, mate, it's one fucking game, one injury, and an unproven manager in the Premier League. I hope all these teams fall off a cliff, mate, because it's potential. Spend all the money you want, because if you haven't got the right manager in place to gel that kind of squad together, it ain't going to work. And so, I let's see what happens, mate. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, very quickly on the Chelsea thing, because we're running out of time. So very quickly on the Chelsea thing, obviously, Emi Martinez, Debu, has been offered to Chelsea. Apparently, he's given the green light. Of course he has. Why would he? I don't understand. Everyone's like, Debu's given the green light. I'm like, yeah. I'm sure he's going to be sitting there going, nah, don't fancy Chelsea. No, I'll be there number one, playing. Yes, okay, I won't be in European football, but I probably will be next season. And then it's just, media cracks me up the spin. But
I will say this:
the thing that I don't like is I really don't want him going to a Premier League club. I don't want him in the league. I don't. Yeah. He's good. Remember how much other fans hate him with all his shithousery and stuff. It's just going to bite us in the arse. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, of course it is. You want him in your team, but you don't want him against you. He has to go abroad. I'd make him right in the reserves. Like there's no way right?
We can't. By the way, before everyone jumps in the comments, we know we can't do that. We know we can't afford for him to write on the reserve.
No, right, but that's what I would do if I had a choice. Yeah. No, you're going nowhere unless you're going abroad. That's your only option because we're not playing against you.
Jackson's off. Emery Martinez is not going to Chelsea.
You know, and maybe that's a bit of a carrot as well to get the Jackson deal over the line. I don't know, maybe. Right? And you kind of, but with Emery, I'll struggle with this one because I think he's been outstanding for us, mate. I think he's been arguably our best goalkeeper of a generation that we've seen. I know we've had some great ones, you know, but he. Just what he's brought to that team, the shithousery, the consistency. He's a brilliant goalkeeper. Some of the he's made mistakes, don't get me wrong, but I've never felt as sound as a goalkeeper. What he does better than any goalkeeper in the league is catch the fucking ball. Like no keeper does it. It drives me insane. And if Suzuki doesn't come in and catch crosses, I'm gonna mate. He'll be my Watkins.
The size. I think he is. I think that's one of his main attributes.
Yeah, but
right? He's very good.
But Bizot does it. He comes out. He punches. Don't punch the ball if you don't have to. Just catch it. Take the pressure off yourself. You know, it does. And Debu does that brilliantly. And I'll be sad to see him go. You know, and if Chelsea do get him, then they could be a force, mate. If I'm honest, because
Sanchez shit.
Yeah, mate. Well, to be fair, if Debu's in goal against Fulham, they probably don't concede those 2 goals.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 3-0 and it's more convincing. They allowed him to the game. So, personally, from a Villa perspective, I don't want him to go to Chelsea. I'm in complete agreement with you, mate. Send him abroad. You know,
but it's the problem is like I said with any of these deals, it takes 2 to tango. So you need a team that's willing to take his salary on. He's happy to go to all that kind of stuff.
Well, no one's coming in, right? Juventus on board that he's got no offer. So if Chelsea's the offer on the table, or if he wants to leave, then we're kind of tied, aren't we? So sad times, mate. But
and then last thing. I don't know how I feel about it. I also like I'm just like I still feel like there's nothing in it. I feel like this comes up every season. There's always something that's linking us to this player. Jack Grealish. We've been linked with him coming back, coming home.
Super Jack.
I think it's another one of those. It's not the same, but it's almost like the Dougie thing. I feel like there's this like nostalgic feeling about it, but I actually don't think it's the right move. I think it is if he takes a heavy pay cut, like a heavy pay cut, like as in a third, if not less.
That's the only way this deal happens for me, right? Now, I think it's a little bit harsh to compare it to Dougie because I think Grealish has still got something to offer. I think I just don't know. He's quite
utility. He's quite helpful because he can play in multiple positions. But
his experience,
it's not the same player.
No, but he looked pretty sharp for Everton before he got injured. Look, I have got a big, massive Jack Grealish heart. Like,
I think you talked before about you just want to see players who are 100% for the cause, give all on the pitch, all heart. You'd like to think coming back to Villa is probably his final swan song. He will do that,
mate. It could be if you talk like we spoke about. You're talking about having him and John McGinn back together, the 2 best mates, driving that team, experience, giving us the energy and the desire that he's needed to be
with Ollie going out as well because we know how close some of the players are. It's nice for him to.
I personally would love to see it happen, but his wages are a problem, so that it's going to have to be cut now. You know, he's got offers on the table, right? Everton, Sunderland, and now us are interested.
Well, apparently Sunderland, they've made contact, but there's been absolutely nothing like firm. But so David Ornstein obviously talked, and it's true. There's been contact, but nothing's on the table at all.
Yeah. Well, you'd like to think, from a nostalgia point of view, he'd come back and you know, because the project's new. This isn't a case of
and he knows the club and all that kind of stuff. Yes, he hasn't played for Emery, but he's played for a manager like Emery. He's played with a Pep, you know, that kind of like manager.
I would love to see Grealish under the tutelage of Unai Emery. Yeah, I really would. I think you could get a good couple of years out of him, you know, and if the price is right, mate, do it. Pull the trigger, get him back. Like I say, the feel-good factor around the club would, you know, there's obviously fans that don't want him back. It would lift everybody. And if you did that before Monday, for instance, and got it over, mate, imagine the atmosphere at Villa Park for that Arsenal game. Right, we can be the 12th man. Right, let's get it done.
Oh, you got me pumped up for it now. You got me sitting here just being like, if I can sit there singing, Super Jack, It would be lovely, wouldn't it? Be very nice.
It would be. I'm just saying it, but these are the psychological factors that need to happen this season. That's what it's not just about the players on the pitch. It's about getting that feel-good factor back and having the players on the pitch that are going to drive that desire, because that's what's going to get us over this season. It is, and we've got enough experience in that team that have been around it. Cash, McGinn. If Grealish was to come back, you've got Kamara, who's been there a few seasons, who understands what it is about. He's a fabulous player.
Still Mings in the squad and stuff.
Mings as well. These are all, let's get this band back together, right? And see if we can have a final swan song.
Yeah. And on that note, mate, I think that'll about do us. We will be back tomorrow. So Friday, if you're watching this, we're recording this on the Thursday morning. We'll be back tomorrow with a preview for the Arsenal game. We were having two guests. We'll have Josh, who is a friend of the channel since the very start, and his brother Jack.
Subscriber, right? I think Josh was our first subscriber.
I think probably, yeah, it probably was. Arsenal fan, but he was our first sub, and I think him and Jack, his brother Jack, who's very, very knowledgeable. He's a big stats man, so that'll be quite interesting to talk to him about that. But yes, so it'll be our 2-on-2 little battle, and
2v2. Come on!
I'm sure they'll be a lot more confident than we will be.
Oh, mate.
It's depressing. It's depressing as well when you think about how good we've been against Arsenal in the past 3-4 years, and then to have this game and go. Well, maybe looking at it going, actually, maybe it's the perfect game.
Yeah,
that's the perfect game for us to get back on track.
This is why I'm quite glad we've managed to do this episode, and Watkins has decided to go, because it's brought a bit of feel good. Because I think if we'd have gone straight into that preview tomorrow, it's all a little bit. They're going to rip it out of us, aren't they? Our teams with decimate. They've got our best centre half, all that jazz, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Make sure you tune in, guys. It's going to be a feisty one, I promise.
Stick us out, guys.
Look, it's the end of an era, but the start of a new generation. So see you tomorrow, people. As always, every week we follow the boys in claret and blue. Peace.
See ya.